Hi, everyone. We're so glad that you're here with us today to talk about compassion fatigue and how to keep the joy this time of year, especially, but throughout the entire school year. I'm here with my friends Sandy and Jonathan, fellow digital learning coaches with Keep Indiana Learning. And we're excited to talk about this topic about new teachers and some ideas, and 2 to 5 year teachers, and then special populations, including the veteran teachers. So let's go ahead and get started. When I thought about keeping the joy, I read a book called The Gratitude Diaries, and there's so many books out there on gratitude and joy, and the true effects of gratitude on our health and our well-being. Something as simple, the book said something like, if you look at a rose and all you see are the thorns, that's how you will always think about a rose. And it really put into perspective how it's hard to find the good in situations. This book documents a woman's journey on finding the good in everything for an entire year. And she really captures the effects on her relationships with others and how it spread to her family, and her kids started on their gratitude journey, and her husband. And it really is a great story about how looking on the bright side can change our lives. So when I was in the classroom, I challenged my students at the end of every day to write down 3 pieces of gratitude. And so we called it just kind of our gratitude journal. Some of them hand wrote them, some of them used Google Keep, which is within the Google Waffle. When I wrote mine, I would put them in the Notes app on my phone sometimes. So there's all kinds of technology-based ways to keep track of this, or just in a simple journal. But my 4th graders, we would end every day with 3 pieces of gratitude. And so I started it out just personally for myself, and then I shared with the students. They're always asking what I'm reading. And so I shared with them that I was reading the story. And they said, well, we want to do it too. And so I thought, okay, you kind of feel like you're going to start something, and then, end of the day is super busy. It gets hectic. No, every day at 3:30, the kids would say, don't forget about our 3 pieces of gratitude. And then we got to the point where almost everyone wanted to share 1 piece of gratitude. And what a great way to end the day, right? In the day could have been hectic. We could have had some rough spots in our day, but we ended every day with the 3 things we were most grateful for from the day. Kids were hearing compliments from their classmates. I loved that so and so played with me at recess. I love this project that we did. I'm grateful that we were able to do it. So it really is a day brightener for you. And a booster, right? A mood booster. Sometimes we need those. And it really did train the kids to look for the good, positive things in their day. We'll link the slide deck, but I also recommend watching the video I linked at the bottom. It's all about one simple act of kindness and kind of the boomerang effect of what happens. And we don't even know how far our kindness stretches. So lots of good things to dive into when you have time. If we move on, I was also thinking about finding joy and gifting ourselves some time back, right? Because that's something that we never seem to have enough of as teachers. And so if you have not taken a dive into any of the AI tools that are out there, I think we all 3 would highly recommend trying something, starting somewhere, because the amount of time you're going to get back, now you can use for other things. I will tell you, I've dabbled in quite a few of these. Magic School AI sticks out to me as one of my favorites right now. They just launched 3.0. There's some really cool generators on there. Make it relevant, so you can talk about, what state you are in, what your kids like, and then it will come up with projects based on their interest. The question generators, the YouTube video to question generator that now you can take a step further into a Google form. So it creates a Google form for you, right at a click. The answer key set, it's amazing. So I highly recommend checking these out, because we know that these are not going to be free forever. All of these companies are going to figure this out, and they're going to start charging. So for sure, give yourself the gift of time. And then moving on to my 3rd thing is just really finding joy in your passions. And so don't forget to share your passions with your students. I, throughout the year, would kind of sprinkle in my own passion projects where maybe I went on a trip and I couldn't wait to come back and share with the kids about it, or there was something going on with my family I wanted to share, or, I love the outdoors and national parks. So maybe I knew something about a park that I wanted to share with them. So don't forget the joy you find in your own passions. And then when you model sharing passions, it really ignites a desire in students to explore some of theirs. And that can lead to passion projects in the classroom, genius hour projects. The list goes on, but really encourages kids to dig deep to see what they're passionate about as you're willing to share your passions in the classroom as well. So I'm going to kick it over to Jonathan so he can talk to us about this brain dumping I'm so interested in hearing about.
Yes, thank you, Carissa. Thank you so much for also just talking about the importance of just sharing gratitude. That's just something that I put as a part of my anchor activity every morning after I go on my walk. It's part of my morning routine is just to sit and just write things that I'm grateful for. And I do it old fashioned in paper, pencil, and a notebook, but it's really just a great opportunity for me to think back on all the amazing things that are happening within some of those things that are, those thorns in our day. So I'm just going to kind of share 3 different ways for reflection. I decided to really just focus in on reflection because it's such an important part of what we do. And it also can really help us through some compassion fatigue, because a lot of times our brain ruminates over some of those negative things in the job, because there are those. But it's important for us to really focus and reflect on the great things that are happening in the work that we do. So one of the things that I really like to do is when I go to bed at night, think about all the things, right, that I know I didn't accomplish that day, or that I have anxiety over, or that I know is a challenge for the next day. And that causes me not to be able to sleep at night. So when I notice this happening, or a pattern of this happening, I know it's time to do a brain dump. And what that means is just taking sticky notes and writing all of the things down that you know are things that you need to accomplish, or things that are bothering you, different things personally or professionally that just are weighing on you. And with no filter, which we don't get to be unfiltered very often in the work that we do, but we get to be unfiltered in this activity, just write down all those things that come to mind. Then sorting the list or the sticky notes and acting on your highest priorities. Oftentimes, once I get it written down on paper, I feel much better because I can see everything. When it's just kind of flowing around in my head, I feel really overwhelmed, and that can cause me just not to feel good in the work that I'm doing. So there's an article that specifically talks about how each of these steps works, and I would recommend you checking it out. But oftentimes I also find there are things in my sticky notes that I can't control. So I've got to let those things go. I also find sometimes that in my sticky notes, there are things that I really want to do, but are not things that I really need to act on right now. And so it really gives me a focus of what my priority is going to be. The next thing that I love to do, and I like to do this at the end of a semester, and this is from a podcast by Jennifer Gonzalez. She has a podcast called Cult of Pedagogy. And if you have not listened to that podcast, I highly recommend it. There's many great resources shared. But one of the podcast episodes she did a long time ago, probably 5 or more years ago at this point, is called The Gut Level Teacher Reflection. And she offers 5 questions for you to think about. And in those 5 questions, it really helps you reflect and think about some pain points that might be in your classroom that you can kind of resolve so that you can feel better in the work that you're doing. The first question is around the classroom environment that you're working in. So are there different areas of the room that make you really happy? Are there different areas that make you feel stressed or overwhelmed? And helps you think about whether those are good places for you to focus and act on. It also in the second question, ask you to look at your lesson plans and think about intentionally What is bringing you joy within your lesson plans? Can you, like as Carissa was talking about, bring your passions into your lesson plans? And then it has you think about your students. And the question specifically says to think about the students in your classroom without that class list in front of you, so that you can think about which students come first to mind and those that come second to mind, and whether you need to focus more on those students that come later to mind. Then it asks you to really focus on your colleagues. Are there specific colleagues in your building that bring you joy? Are there others that don't bring you joy? And what can you do to build that relationship with some of those colleagues within your building? And then the last thing is there's a list of different educational hot topics and initiatives for you to really reflect on and think about how you're feeling about those different things. I highly recommend listening to the episode because it's a really guided reflection that you can pause and play as you go through that reflection. And then there's a like a little worksheet page for you to list the things that you're thinking about as you go through that reflection. And then the last thing is just sharing your small wins with your people. I love doing this. I have a group chat with family members where we just share every day. We've kind of said at the beginning of this, it was like one of our New Year's resolutions as a family, to just share things that we love that are happening within our day. So all throughout the day, I'm getting text messages in that group chat. There's like 30 of us in it. And it's different people just sharing a picture of their day throughout the day as it's happening, and sharing why that's bringing them happiness or joy throughout that day. And so here's just a couple of pictures that I've shared in the past couple of weeks. Our district is doing some work with the writing revolution. And so I was working with a teacher, and we were able to get students to the point where they were writing an SPO for a summary. And that was really exciting. So I was sharing that with my family. Last week, we had our high school pathways students coming to our elementaries to deliver our middle of the year testing one-on-one with students. So that was a really exciting opportunity for them. And then last week, we also had a PLC meeting, and we weren't all able to get together with the whole fifth grade team. So we got on FigJam, put all of our evidence statements, did our 15-day plan with sticky notes and our texts, and that was a really exciting moment for all of us. So just sharing that with your people, whether it be your family, whether it be your colleagues, just celebrating each other and having fun in the work that we do every day and looking for the good that happens. And we'll turn it over to Sandy next as she shares more.
Thanks, Jonathan and Carissa. Those are some really great things as you wrap up this 2023 year. And, we're trying to get back on track after the past couple of years. And so continuing to reflect on these great things that are happening are going to help boost our morale and also help the population, help the community know that we're in it. We're in it for kids and we want their support. Carissa, I love the gratitude journal in Google Keep. And what I love about that is like being able to even share it out with each other. They could just share that one thing with another student. That's a cool idea. And Jonathan, I never really reflected on those spaces in my classroom that brought me joy and brought me stress, because there were definitely those spots. And so when I think about that area where I used to do read aloud, that brought me so much joy, and how I could have shifted some of those stressful situations to there. That's a cool thing to think about. So thanks for sharing those. And we're going to just talk about, and this is special populations and veteran teachers, but it's really, again, all of these are for all teachers. It's really what we can do right now to help keep ourselves going. So this first one is a blog post that I really liked about just those three big ideas for cultivating joy, but it's that whole big picture, right? It's not just in my classroom, it's outside my classroom and for myself. And so when we think about inside the classroom, thinking about sharing that daily news, having the kids each day, having them do it, share your daily news and happenings in our classroom. Same thing with having kids blog about it. Let them be able to develop that joy that they have for coming into school. And then quick jots. We're used to doing quick jots for reflection on a lesson or reflection as an exit ticket, but let's do a quick jot on how we're feeling and the joy that we're having doing something in school or something that somebody brought us. So everybody do a quick jot on what is something that somebody said, did, or supported you with throughout the week, and put it down. And even this time of year, make it a paper snowball and throw them across the room and have a snowball fight. You know, we've all done those for years, but let's make it a joyful thing where we're sharing good that we see in each other. So that's inside the classroom. And then this piece, I think, is so important as all the rest. And Jonathan and Carissa capitalized on it as well, but outside of the classroom, we have to start to think about what we can do to help bring the joy that we're doing in our classrooms and our schools outside, because we need the community and we need everybody to hear that. So letting the students understand and helping them understand that their actions matter. And one of the ideas that I really liked was the 14 social action projects. So they're listed down in the corner, but you can also click on the link and see them. And it's just thinking about, what can I do to bring joy to my community? What can I do to help somebody in the community when I'm at the grocery store? Even if I'm not with my classmates, what could I do? And then report back to the class. Maybe do it as a quick jot where I report back, or have the kids blog about something that they did on their own time. And I think the same goes for us as teachers. What did I do that I can talk with my class? Both Jonathan and Carissa talked about that, is bringing what I love into the classroom and modeling that for the students. So how can I bring what I'm doing to support the community into the classroom? And then the last one is that reaching out to a friend, you know, always encouraging the kids to reach out to a friend outside of the classroom. And maybe you're going to develop pen pals. I know right now my nephews are in town, and his teacher is from Florida, and his teacher in Florida has a sister that's here in Brownsburg. So his class is partnering up, and what a great way to like reach out across the country and just make new friends, because that's going to bring joy. And then what we've all talked about is that happiness for yourself. Doing the happiness reflection, making a plan for what you need. Jonathan mentioned that as well. What do you need to bring that joy? What do you need to get rid of? What do you need to recognize? Celebrate, 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 celebrate. I just can't say that enough. Celebrate yourself, celebrate with friends, however you like to celebrate, do that. And then share your joy with others. So we're going to go on and look at another 10 tips for us self-care. So this is all about teachers and our self-care and things to think about. And I really thought this first one was interesting. Hydrate, 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 hydrate. You know, we all have our Stanley cups or our make sure you drink this amount every day, and we're walking around with it. But are we taking the time to continue doing that? And are we doing that this time of year especially? I watched the Today Show, or I listened to it on the radio when I'm driving. They've really been talking about like your skin and your body care. And this time of year, we just get so dried out, and that affects us when we're trying to function on a daily basis. So hydrate, make sure we're drinking a lot of water. Something that I just, don't think about that for my self-care. Another one is, take that morning and afternoon break. And I know that's tricky for us as educators, but take that time, whether it's first thing in the morning. One of the things I love doing is just walk the building, say hi to my friends, say hi to kiddos that are there early, just maybe a 2-minute walk. And in the afternoon, get outside if you can, go walk your pet if you haven't, go play with your kids if you have them, or just take a second again to walk inside or outside the building. I love this next one, FaceTime. Such a blessing, right? So FaceTime, but make sure you're FaceTiming with a non-educator, because you need to get school off your mind for a little bit. So find your friends, find your relatives, and jump on FaceTime. Somebody that's going to make you smile, somebody that you can share maybe your stresses, and they're going to lift you up. Adult coloring books, they've been around for a long time. I like to do mine on my iPad now. You can do them on your phone. Just take some time to do that. Read, of course. Setting your cutoff time. I am going to be done at this time every day that I don't have a meeting, right? Or I'm going to what I don't get done by this time, it's okay. It'll be there tomorrow. And it's not meaning that I'm putting things off, but I'm prioritizing myself. Take your weekends off. I know it's hard. I've been trying to do it for 19, 20 years, and I haven't been successful yet of not working on the weekends, but try it. Try at least for a month, I'm going to take the weekends off. This is one of my most favorite ones, and that's look back at student notes. Look back at student notes, parent emails. I have a note that I often go back to of a student who is no longer with us, and every time I read that note, it brings me so much joy. So much joy thinking about hopefully that impact that I made on him, thinking about him. I just think that those are so powerful. So I keep mine in a Ziploc baggie in my desk, and on those days, they're just those days where I need to pull them out and look at them, and just go back to those. Forgive people and negative things holding you back. Jonathan mentioned that. I'm not going to go into too much, but we've got to forgive people and be grateful. Be grateful for what we have, even though it's tough. Be grateful. All right, and we're going to jump into the last one, and this is going to be real quick, and I kind of love it. I'm super excited about this. So Apple just released their journal app. So I don't know, Jonathan or Carissa, have you explored this yet? Okay, well, obviously you have to have an Apple product, and you have to have the newest update. But it's kind of cool because it's all about you and it's guided. So it doesn't have to be about school. When I open it up, it pops up pictures of my daughter and it'll ask me a question about what's great about this moment. And I can type it, I can write about it, I can dictate it, which I love too, because I don't always have time to sit and type. Sometimes I might be driving and I'm just going to dictate my entry. But what I love about it is, again, it's about me. It's not about work. It can be about work if I choose to write my own entries, but the way that it generates questions about recent moments is really fun and exciting, because then I don't have another piece of thinking that I have to do. I can just reflect on what it's asking. I can put in video, I can put in pictures, I can put in voice memos, and all of those things are locked as well. You have to have a passcode to get in. You can search for them. You can tag different things. And what I like about this as well is being able to record a journal and journal entries that I could then pass along to someone else. So one of the things that I've tried to do is share things with my daughter that she can have later on in life, and putting that journal entry in. So, or doing a journal entry maybe about a friend that popped up or a colleague that popped up, and then I could share it with them. And that might be that booster that they need for that day. So if you have an Apple product, check out the journal app. It's super cool. So, all right. Just to finish up, thank you so much for joining us. I hope everybody has a wonderful winter break. Take this time, and you've all heard it, but take this time to just reflect. Think about the things that we've all shared. Think about your kiddos. Think about your kiddos over the next few weeks. Remember that this time of year can be very happy and fun for lots, and it can also be very stressful and sad for lots as well. So make sure that you are really thinking about your words as you're sending them on their way before break and when they're coming back, because we want everybody to feel that love and compassion for themselves, for each other. So setting the tone for 2024 and the remainder of your school year is going to be really critical when they come back in January. So again, thank you so much. If you if you would like to give us some feedback, you can do the QR code. We are excited for January, for a new year, a new you, when we're going to be talking about goal setting. And then if you would like to connect with all of us, make sure you click on the QR code, follow us, make sure you're following Keep Indiana Learning, and then follow us on Twitter as well as Instagram, connect on the website. And we just thank you so much for wrapping up this 2023 year with us. Do something kind for yourself today, do something kind for somebody else tomorrow, and hug a friend on the last day. Bye.